Welcome my students and viewers as well. This class is in continuance of the previous class where I started this consumer's behavior, keeping in view your net exam likely to be held in sometime in initial first week of May. I thought that within these 2 months I will be able to covering all the modules of the net, your syllabus, and accordingly I started. But whether I would be able to finish the entire syllabus or I don't know, but I have started the work. And yesterday was the work on the consumer behavior on Marshallian utility analysis. Today I am likely to start this indifference curve analysis, and due to the dearth of time I can't go extensively in any chapter. This is a very bigger constraint before me, that I won't be able to go deep into any chapter. So for that, in a shorter way, I'll be able to cover all the modules for this exam. For next year exam, I'll be quite extensive for this exam. And if any viewer or the student have any trouble in understanding whatever I am teaching in the class, and they have any question or any query, they may come up in my WhatsApp. They may ask me, and I'll be answering either in the class or in the WhatsApp itself. They may raise the questions before me. I'll be happy to see the questions, and I'll be answering all the questions if I get it in my WhatsApp or in description or the comment of the YouTube. So be attentive whatever I'm doing in the class, and see how far I can do for this exam in this short little span of time of 2 months, 60 days. So time is very less, but I have tried my best. So let me start this indifference curve analysis in this class. This technique was an improvement over the earlier Marshallian utility analysis given by the Marshall. That theory had several weaknesses, several drawbacks, and on account of those drawbacks, these two gentlemen, both an English fellow, J.R. Hicks, and this R.J.D. Yellen, a great man in mathematical economics. So these two fellows gave an alternative analysis of consumer behavior known as the indifference curve analysis. The word is indifference. Indifference originates from indifferent, and indifferent means unbiased. If you are not tilted towards anyone, if you are not biased, if you are unbiased, that means indifferent. Or if you are neutral among various options, if you are neutral, it is likely to be indifferent. So in that, here in just a consumer will have several basket of goods, and within all those baskets the very consumer will be quite indifferent. He won't have any special preference for any basket over any other basket. That's why this is indifferent, right? This indifference curve analysis is based on certain assumptions like Marshallian utility analysis was. These are the assumptions. First is utility is ordinal. Yes, not cardinal. Marshall took it cardinal, and here it is ordinal. That is, utility at best can be ranked, not it could be quantified as Marshall thought. So utility is ordinal. Secondly, in this theory, we shall have diminishing marginal rate of substitution. There we did have diminishing marginal utility. Here we shall have diminishing marginal rate of substitution. Third, assumption says that consumer's choice is consistent. This means that if at any point of time consumer prefers A to B, if A is preferred to B, then at any other point of time B cannot be preferred to A. Only then the consumer choice is said to be consistent. Fourth is, in consumer's choice there is a sense of transitivity. This transitivity means that if A is preferred to B and B is preferred to C, then A is preferred to C. So this is what means transitivity. And last assumption says that a larger basket is always preferable to a smaller basket. So these are the few assumptions on which this indifference curve analysis is based, and this analysis does not take those many restrictive assumptions which Marshall took, like utility is cardinal, marginal utility of money is constant, utility is independent, those who all were the very restrictive and very strong assumptions, those have been relaxed in this analysis, and this analysis takes these 5 assumptions. Now, under these assumptions, I am explaining indifference curve. Yes. Now, an IC could be explained with the help of an indifference schedule. Indifference schedule provides various combinations of 2 goods, and each combination gives equal amount of utility to the consumer. So, we have 5 just combinations of good X and Y, and combination A says the 1 unit of X plus 25 unit of Y gives U1 unit of utility. If we want to increase this X consumption of X, then definitely for a fixed level of utility, this consumption of Y shall have to be reduced. So, if the consumption of X is increased from 1 to 2, the consumption of Y reduces from 25 to 18. So, for an unit gain in X, consumer has to sacrifice 7 unit of Y. This 7 becomes marginal rate of substitution. Likely, when the consumer wants to increase or to just more consumption of X, if he goes from 2 to 3, then the consumption of Y shall be reduced from 18 to 12. So, for this unit, for this gain in X, unit gain in X, 6 unit of Y is being sacrificed. This becomes marginal rate of substitution. So, in this way, we have 5 combinations, and this is the marginal rate of substitution which is diminishing. And this diminishing MRS will give convex IC that we shall see later on. If these 5 combinations are plotted on a graph paper, these are the 5 combinations, and when those all 5 combinations are joined by a curve, we get a curve, this like curve, and this becomes IC. Now, by observation, what we see, this IC is a continuous downward falling curve. It is not a step function. So, it is a continuous downward falling curve. This continuous means 2 things. Theoretically, it means that 2 goods are perfectly divisible. And mathematically, it means that if any function is continuous, then it is differentiable. So, this continuous word has these these 2 connotations. Continuous means these 2 goods are perfectly divisible, and this utility function would be differentiable. Now, we are in a position to define an IC, that an IC gives various combinations of X and Y which yields same amount of utility to the consumer. Thus, on an entire IC, utility remains constant, and mathematically IC could be expressed as utility is a function of X and Y. So, this is what an IC means, a normal IC. Just now we shall see the various shapes of IC, but those are the abnormal shapes of IC. This is the normal shape of IC, and this an IC means this one we shall see, but right now we shall see the various shapes of IC. These are the various shapes of IC, and except this one, these all are the rare or the abnormal cases of IC. Now, come on, this is the most popular or the most theoretical shape of IC, that is just a convex IC indifference curve, and in this case there is a limited substitution between X and Y. So, elasticity of substitution varies between 0 and infinity. This is linear IC. Linear IC happens when X and Y are the perfect substitutes, and in that case elasticity of substitution becomes infinity. Now, in this case, X and Y are the perfect complements. There is one combination which can be used. Consumer can't move in either directions. Just there is one combination which will be consumed by the consumer. So, no chance of any substitution between X and Y. So, here elasticity of substitution becomes 0, and this is called Leontief IC. W. Leontief, an American, just behind his name. This one is Kinged IC, used in linear programming. These are the various activities. A1, A2, A3. These are the various activities, and on one activity. This is a point of operation, this one and this one. When we join these point of operations, we get a kinked IC. This is used in linear programming. If both goods happens to be the bad goods, say this is water pollution and Y is air pollution. If both becomes bad goods, then entire IC becomes a concave. This will be the shape of IC, and in that case, as we move farther from origin, this utility increases, and as we become closer to the origin, utility increases. Anyway, we shall see later on. Now this diagram shows out of two goods, one good is the good for the consumer and another is the bad. Say X is the pollution and Y is the cloth. Then IC will be opening towards the good clothing. This one. And if out of two goods X and Y becomes neutral. A good is neutral on which there is no impact of increase in income. That goods becomes neutral. So if Y is neutral and X is a normal good, then an IC will have its shape of this one. So barring this one, all are the rare shapes of indifference curve depending upon the nature of goods, and then IC takes its own shape. So these are the various shapes of IC. Now these are the various properties of IC. Let us start from one. IC is a downward sloping curve. Absolutely, we have seen in reference schedule that if the consumer wants to increase the consumption of one good, he shall have to reduce the consumption of another good for a fixed level of utility. That's why IC slopes downward, and mathematically it means that the slope of this curve, that is the dy by dx, is negative, or MRS, which happens to be the slope of curve, that is negative. So mathematically its slope is negative, and theoretically it means that if the consumption of one good is increased, consumption of another shall have to be reduced for a fixed level of utility. Second one, in an IC map where we shall have we are having various ICs, then in IC map, as we go farther from origin, utility increases. So here we are having three ICs. For this IC, utility is U1, U2, U3. Then U3 is larger than U2, which is larger than U1. Thirdly, two IC can never intersect or be tangent to each other. Entire IC analysis is based on the assumption that in this 2D space, assumption says that in this 2D space of X and Y, from any point, one and only one IC has to pass. This is the assumption that in this space, if there is one point, this point, then from this point, only one IC will pass. If from one point two IC passes, that means that two ICs are intersecting each other. That means that point E stands for two levels of utility. That is, the same basket of good is giving two levels of utility to the consumer, which is absolutely unacceptable. So two ICs can never be tangent or can never intersect each other. This is the reason. This is not acceptable in IC analysis. Fourth one says that IC is convex to the origin due to diminishing MRS. We are having diminishing MRS, so we get a convex IC. If MRS had been rising, then IC would have been a just concave curve, and if MRS is constant, then IC becomes a linear curve. This is the normal case, and these two are the explanations of the theory. So if MRS had been rising, IC would have been concave, and if MRS is constant, IC would be a linear. But in the practical case, MRS is falling or diminishing, so we are having a convex IC. Fifth one says that IC never touches either axis. IC should never touch any axis, what we have seen. But if it just touches any axis, then we say that the consumer is just suffering from a particular problem, monomania. This means that consumer is likely to spend his entire income on the purchase of only one commodity, which is not a practical case. anyway, but normally IC never touches either of the axes. Number 6, two IC may or may not be parallel. Here these two IC are parallel, here these two IC are not parallel. Two IC would be parallel if the MRS of both curves are equal, and if this is not equal, IC will not be a parallel. And final property says that IC is a spherical, and in a spherical part, in a spherical IC, we are having 4 segments, 1, 2, 3, 4, and out of these 4 segments, this southwest part is IC. This represents IC, and these 3 parts are not considered in the consumer's behavior. Now, it can be explained. Economics says that all the whole wants of a consumer cannot be set, they just cannot be satisfied, but any one want can be satisfied. Say, for consumer, the amount of X which is good for him is OX1. Beyond X1, this X becomes a bad commodity. Similarly for Y, from 0 to Y1, this is a good commodity, and beyond Y1, it becomes a bad commodity. Now, see what is happening in just these 4 segments. In this segment, X is within good, so X is good, but Y has gone beyond the limit, so Y is bad. In this segment, X is beyond limit, so X is bad, and Y has also gone beyond limit, Y is bad, so X bad, Y bad, not acceptable. In this segment, X is excessive, so X is bad, but Y is within the limit, so Y is good, but one commodity is bad, that's why it is not accepted. And for this segment, X lying within its limit, Y lying within limit, so this becomes a normal IC which we consider and which we analyze in consumer's behavior analysis. These 3 are not considered, are not taken as a normal IC. This becomes your IC. So this is what these 7 properties of IC are. Now we are seeing the consumer's equilibrium. This diagram explains consumer's equilibrium through this indifference curve analysis. For explaining consumer's equilibrium, we shall have to superimpose one figure over another. This is the price line, budget line, or the expenditure function. This is called expenditure function, and when this is plotted, this becomes a price line or budget line. And slope, its slope is ratio of prices of 2 goods. So this is price line, and this is IC. Now the consumer wants to maximize his utility, so he will try to attain or to remain at the highest IC. Now what is apparent that in IC map, just a consumer has 3 ICs, in which this I2, this IC1 is exactly tangent to the price line at point E. Beyond this price line, a consumer cannot go. Within the price line, he has not to seek his equilibrium. So he has to seek his equilibrium on this price line itself. This point cannot be taken as an equilibrium, because by taking this point, consumer finds itself on a lower IC. So definitely he will go on a higher IC. So at point E, he is at equilibrium. Now at point E, 2 conditions are fulfilled. One is called the necessary condition, and another is called the sufficient condition. Now necessary condition, IC is tangent to price line at E. Now geometrically, at the point of tangency, slope of both curves are equal. So at point E, slope of IC is just slope of price line. Now slope of IC is MRS, which finally is the ratio of marginal utilities of 2 goods. So this is the slope of IC, and this is the slope of price line. So this is the equilibrium condition. And if you slightly recollect from the findings of the previous class, exactly this was the consumer's equilibrium condition given by the Marshall. Same condition is being provided by this indifference curve analysis, but the different path is adopted. This analysis is more analytical, more practical than the earlier one. So this is the first condition, and second sufficient condition says that at the point of tangency, IC must be convex, not concave. In this diagram, at E1 and E2, at both of these points, this first condition is fulfilled. But second condition, that is IC must be convex, so second condition is fulfilled here, it is not fulfilled here, so this E1 point would be a point of a stable equilibrium. So this is a point of a stable equilibrium. These are the two conditions for the converse equilibrium in a normal case. Now we are having some abnormal or the corner solutions. When this equilibrium happens at either of the axes, then it becomes a corner solution. Just I am showing those cases. These are the three cases of the, because the earlier solution where we did find an equilibrium, this one, just the normal case of which I have shown earlier, this is called plane solution. Plane solution, because in equilibrium, consumer is consuming some quantities of both goods. So this is called plane solution. And when this equilibrium happens on either of the axes, then it becomes corner solution. And here these are the three cases of corner solution. When we have a linear IC, solution would be found at the axis either here or there. So we shall have a corner solution. Secondly, if we do have the convex IC, but if the consumer is suffering from monomania, that he is bent upon to spend his entire income on the consumption of any one commodity, then his IC would touch axis, and if this is the price line, here is the tangency, so this is the point of equilibrium. And thirdly, when IC happens to be concave one, when it is a concave shape, then equilibrium would be either here or here. Here the largest amount of disutility, and here the smallest amount of disutility or the largest amount of utility. So consumer would take this point as an equilibrium point. So these are the few abnormal cases of equilibrium, when the equilibrium of the consumer becomes on axis instead of the plane solution. चलिए स्टूडेंट्स एंड व्यूअर्स, अभी कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर पर काम हो रहा था, कल भी थोड़ी सी काम उस पर किया गया, और आज भी इंडिफरेंस कर पे हमने थोड़ा सा कम समय में, लिमिटेड समय में जो बन पड़ रहा है वो हम करते जा रहे हैं। और इस पर जो कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर पर जो बने अंतिम वीडियो वो कल बनेगी और कल वो पोस्ट करेंगे हम लोग। आज हमने इंडिफरेंस कर को कम समय में चाहा है जो हम बच्चों तक पूरी इन्फॉर्मेशन दे दें, और कल इस पर बनेगी फाइनल वीडियो। इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ डिमांड हम उसी में देंगे, तो कल वीडियो पोस्ट किया जाएगा। आज ये वीडियो है। अब जाते जाते अब थोड़ी सी कुछ विशेष ज्ञान की बातें, तो नंबर के बारे में बताना चाहूँ, उसी को कीजिए। So just tomorrow we shall be finishing consumer behavior. Apart from this consumer's analysis, the consumer behavior and difference curve, I have shown the consumer's equilibrium and all other analysis of difference curve. I shall be finishing it just tomorrow, along with the elasticity of demand. That could be just a longer video, but let it be. Just tomorrow I'll finish it. And today I have done this difference curve analysis. And on account of time constraint, I have very smaller time. That's why in whatever time I have done it. Tomorrow I shall be doing, and I shall be finishing this. So this is all for today. Thanks viewers and my students as well.